And gently close the eyes. And bring your attention to the breath for a few moments. We can actually take a moment and thank ourselves for being here this evening, because we're not only helping ourselves in a number of ways, but we're also helping support everybody else in the room. We just take a moment and ask ourselves how we feel. And when we do this, we're noticing the state, perhaps, that we have. We're noticing maybe some sensations in the body, particularly if there's any uncomfortable sensations. We might be just kind of noticing our breath or noticing how we feel in the area of comfort, as soon as we close the eyes. A lot of things that can be noticed. One of the important things of that is noticing the impermanence of all these different experiences, feelings, states, sensations, thoughts. And once we notice the impermanence and the movement of all this, we can kind of take a back seat and just watch. Watch these things come up and then change, and in most cases just simply fade away. It's like being a bystander on a highway and watching everything go by, not knowing that we don't have to get involved and jump right into the car or the vehicle. These things go by, different sizes, different shapes, different colors, different speeds, but it's all going by. Or if you like, it's like sitting on the edge of the river and watching the thoughts go by and the feelings. And when we do this investigation, we notice different things about ourselves. We notice if there's patterns, beneficial patterns or negative patterns of mind, of body. Notice these things that come up frequently. Maybe notice some things that linger a little bit longer than they should. Or things that we want to linger, things that we want to change. And then we notice that with all of this being so impermanent, there's really nothing to hang on to, or even try to hang on to. Because if we want something to stay a certain way, we begin striving, resulting in dukkha, or suffering. So the real benefit is in watching and noticing and being, or doing a little bit of detective work, investigation into what is happening, but without the idea of things being wrong in any way, just viewing without judgment, without any kind of commentary or criticism. No decision making. Just seeing things for what they are, seeing them arise and then fall away. And this is really the practice of vipassana. But part of the inability to do that, if there is any, is that we lose our focus and the mind begins to wander or gets distracted in some way. And there's always the possibility that we might begin to try to fix something that we feel is broken or change something to other than what it currently is, which is not meditation. And so we still the mind and relax the body. We bring our attention to an object, namely the breath. We use this as a focal point. We notice the breath as it comes in and as it leaves, or some interesting aspect of the breath. Maybe one breath being short and one breath being longer. How the breath feels like oxygen and energy. How it makes the body feel a different way. We can also notice how the body affects the breath. If the body needs a lot of energy, we breathe heavier, deeper. And we can use that as a tool. If we get drowsy, we can take a little deeper than normal inhalation of the breath. If we want to relax, we allow the breath to relax, to become calm. And most of this happens without even paying attention to it. In fact, there's no reason why we have to manipulate the breath, but just notice it, pay attention to it, and stay with it. And then when something interferes, we can just touch it with our awareness and then come back to the breath. And that touching with awareness is really the investigation. And that's all it takes, is a little bit of awareness. And that's where the healing power comes from. Eventually the breath can become so soft, and we can just simply and very easily, effortlessly rest our attention there. And then from there, oftentimes it feels as if we're really connecting with something. Most people would refer to as our true nature, who we really are. And at first this can be very, very brief, almost unnoticeable. But the more we remain consistent with our meditation practice, these periods are extended and they last much longer. And our meditation time can be very, very blissful. And it's primarily because we see the truth of who we are for longer periods of time. And ultimately we see who we are not. So we have a choice. We can take this practice as deep and as meaningful as we like, and then that's just through the consistency of the practice. And also by remembering how simple it really is. It doesn't have to be a struggle when we think in terms of meditation. It should be very pleasant. Just simply bringing our attention to the breath. And when the mind wanders off, like it often will, we just take a brief look at what it wandered off to, and touch it with our awareness, and then come back to the breath.